Hello everyone, it's Fred again from Notes of a Nomad, video number 228. What are we going to do about this? What's this? What am I talking about? Well, as you probably know, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I love working with young people and assisting them to gain the skills that will assist them to be successful as they enter adulthood. And I keep coming across more and more articles and books about the challenges young people are facing. For example, the book called Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, where he refers to the negative impact that cell phones and social media are having on young people. In fact, I've heard recently some school districts are looking at banning cell phones until young people are in their teenage years because of the negative impact it is definitely having. Another book that I heard about recently is called Bad Therapy. And Bad Therapy by Abigail Shearer refers to the fact that we are actually emphasizing too much the emotional fragility of young people, and we're not assisting them to gain the resilience and grit that they need, and giving them challenges and letting them solve it rather than solving it for them. So let's be careful of that. And I did hear about a study that was done recently where young workers are feeling stressed and undervalued and lonely in the workforce when they leave school and get into the workforce, and they're not able to communicate with the older generation. So there's lack of teamwork and lack of good communication skills between the generations, and that's impacting the youth. So there's a lot of challenges they face. And when I think about what we can do, I often think of the work done by Dr. Marilyn Price-Mitchell, who has done what I think is some outstanding work in this field. I believe she was in the workforce for many years and saw young people come out of school and university and not cope, and went back to university in her later years and did a PhD and has come up with 8 core attributes that people need to be successful and happy and fulfilled in their lives. And I'll review those. And I also put a link to her website where she has a lot of valuable information, including surveys that adults and young people can take to see how they are doing in those 8 core attributes. So let me share with you a little bit of information about those core attributes, and it might encourage you to be interested enough to go and visit her website. These are the 8 core attributes. For example, she talks about curiosity. And of course, curiosity helps us acquire new knowledge and skills and lifelong learning. And the way the world's changing, it's good to be curious about what's happening and what we might be able to create to solve some of those problems as well. So creativity is part of it, where we can come up with original ideas and appreciate, what's going on and what we can possibly do, use our imagination, which often is knocked out of young people by the time they leave school. They're curious and creative when they're young, but by the time we leave school, it's only this way. We learned this is how to pass exams, but not be creative. And then, of course, the other one is being resourceful, because that is part of solving problems. Find uh, different ways to help shape the future because the world is changing so much. Being resourceful is an important skill, using our organizing and planning, but everything doesn't always go according to our plans. That's why resilience is important. Don't give up. We learn what didn't work, but then we can then try again. That reminds me of the book by Angela Duckworth, where she wrote about grit, why it's so important, and how that can have a positive impact on people and on teams by being resilient. And then integrity, when we're working with teams, is important, so that we are honest and we don't tell lies, and we are, authentic in our dealings with others. And talking about dealing with others, it's also the empathy, because people see things differently. Their life experiences and their culture may be different. But we are empathetic. Why do they think that? Let's find out. and let's ask the questions and be compassionate and even civic minded, the other people in our communities, which then brings us to sociability. Sociability is how we work together, how we uh, listen to each other. Active listening is a skill. We often are poor listeners, and and our communication skills, which are some things we try and work on hard in Agri Speakers, which, as you probably know, I'm very fond of as an organization. And last but not least is our self-awareness, to be aware of what our strengths and weaknesses are. And then we can help others with our strengths, and others can help us with our weaknesses. And that's part of the sociability and empathy. So all of these skills, help us enormously. And with that, those 8 skills, we can help each other. And I would suggest look at the website. I put a link in the um, information below, the description below this video, to Roots of Action, which is Dr. Marilyn Price-Mitchell's website. You'll find surveys there, which adults you can take. I've done it and see how I am in those 8 core attributes. And there's for young people and also families and group surveys. And then if you work on it, there's a lot of information in her website. She's written countless articles helping in all these fields. And I'm sure it will help you and help others to gain those skills which make us happy and successful in our lives. So with that, I will say adios, au revoir, wishing you, your family and friends, lots of love and laughter. Bye for now from Fred and Notes of a Nomad.